We continue now in Genesis chapter 6. Now Noah comes clearly into focus. And God ends up talking to Noah. But before that happens, let's read what God said. And here we have another one of those, the generations of passages, the generations of Noah. As we mentioned before, whenever the book of Genesis says these are the generations of somebody, it always refers to some patriarch. The first patriarch was God. The second one was Adam. And now we get Noah. So let's read this. Genesis 6, verses 9 to 13. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. In verse 9, we read, Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. Now, where did we hear that before? We heard that before with Enoch, and Enoch walked with God. So Noah must have been quite a righteous dude. To be just means to live conformed to a superior ethical or moral standard. I remember the stepfather of Jesus Christ being referred to in the same way. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make a public example, was minded to put Mary away privately. To be just, that's in Matthew 1, verse 19. To be just means to live according to a moral compass that is far beyond the accepted standards of decency. Folks, to be just today means to live in a moral standard that is far beyond what the world calls decent. To be just means to live in a moral standard that God says is decent. Perfect in Scripture implies a sense of completeness. I don't think that Lamech, dying at the age of 777, was a coincidence. Because as we said before, in Hebrew numerology, it screams, complete, complete, complete. In addition, Noah, like Enoch, like we said here, walked with God. He separated himself from the wickedness that saturated the world and followed the Lord. he followed the Lord. That was verse 9. Then in verse 10, it repeats that Noah fathered 3 sons. Previously, we learned that Noah was 500 years old when he fathered those 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. I believe we seem to have here the first set of triplets. Although Japheth was the older, Shem was the middle, and Ham was the youngest. We'll find out more about them later. But I wouldn't doubt that they were triplets. But one had to be older, one had to be younger. That's right. And one had to be in the middle. In verses 11 and 12, we have a vivid description of the world. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupted. For all flesh had corrupted its way upon the earth. Now, how would we word that in modern English? In modern English, this would read, it was rotten, rotten to the core. Then in verse 13, let's read what verse 13 says. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Imagine being told this suddenly. God suddenly spoke to Noah. Noah, God would have called. This is what I got to tell you. I'm going to destroy everybody. What? I'm telling you, Noah must have been shocked. Noah must have wondered in his heart how long people would be getting away with their evil deeds. Although still over 100 years away. Remember, God said 120 more years, and then game over. 120 more years, and you're gone. But here was Noah. Although still over 100 years away, Noah is told by God that punishment is coming. God told Noah, who walked with him and was his servant, what he planned to do on earth. I can't even begin to imagine what must have gone through Noah's mind and Noah's heart. God said, I will destroy them with the earth. God didn't promise to destroy people from the earth, but with the earth. The earth itself was to share in man's judgment. The coming destruction was to be global and cataclysmic. Cataclysmic means total, completely chaotic, complete chaos. And not a local phenomenon, as some people teach. Some people teach it was only a local flood. Many compromising Christians interpret the story of Noah as being a local flood. Either you take the Bible literally or you don't. Most of Genesis is not open to interpretation. In preparation of the coming judgment, coming punishment, Noah was to go on a massive building project that would take 100 years to complete. Many churches are aware of coming judgment upon the earth sooner than we think. We ought to be warning the lost again and again, yet the majority of Christians won't be doing anything, nor will they listen. Here I am on YouTube talking about it. There are many that will not listen. Times aren't getting any better. In fact, in many countries, the time is getting worse. Look around us. Most of the world does seem to be rotten to the core.